Home security is an important part of life because it gives you assurance and comfort in knowing that a person's home is secure. With this in mind, here are some ways to protect your house from burglary. The first action you want to take is to observe and record your property. This means walking around, maybe taking a picture or video, and seeing any possible weak points or something that would make your home more favorable to a criminal to break into. Since each home is different in shape, size, location, and environment, this is an important step to perform. Some weak points a house may have is the property being blocked by anything that could be used as cover, like large trees, rocks, cars, trucks that the criminal could use to break into your house at nighttime. Having a constant routine, like for example your house, school, the gym, work, then back home, which can be recorded by a criminal. Is the property properly lit and well maintained so it looks like it's occupied? If not, there's more incentive to break in because it looks like no one's gonna get caught going inside. Are the windows showing anything of value like jewelry or cash, which is a big incentive as well because they see the money right there or the jewelry is right there and it's like playing an arcade game and they'll go right for it. Another weak point includes doors and windows being unlocked, which is such a dumb thing to do because that's like an invitation to come inside. In fact, there was actually a murderer back in the day that would do that, where he assumed an open door was an invitation for him to come inside and murder them with an axe or something. A great way to avoid a break-in is to have a lot of forms of deterrence. A dog is a good option because the loud barking can scare people off that try to break in. Also, shredding your trash can be a good deterrent because you have information on your big purchases, your bills, your statements that people can see and be enticed to going inside and breaking in if they see something that's worthwhile, like trash from an expensive company like Gucci or Supreme, which gives off the vibe that you have a lot of expendable cash and a lot of valuables at home, even if it's not true. Getting a home security system is also a deterrent, especially if it's noticeable, like ADT, who have those little signs outside of a home. Now, if you don't trust someone else to monitor your house, which is understandable, then a custom setup can be used. So a custom home security system has a lot of aspects to cover, so let me break it down for you. First, the outside of the home needs to be secured. If possible, having large walls and a large metal gate and spikes on top of the wall can be a great option. However, this is an optional choice as it can be extremely expensive and or not possible for your home. What is essential, however, are cameras outside to record any suspicious movement that is visible. These security cameras, which are for the outdoors, should be motion detecting cameras that are waterproof, have night vision, and be sturdy enough to handle other outside elements like snow or wind. These cameras should be battery powered, and a step up from this would also be solar powered, so you don't have to change the battery as much. The first one I found that looked decent on Amazon was the Laview security camera for about $39 to $40. This camera has a lot of the prerequisites that I mentioned above, except I don't think it's solar powered, but it does send messages to your mobile device when activated, and you can watch the video from anywhere, both options which are very beneficial to you. These cameras should be very visible, both to get a good coverage of the area and to be a reminder that there's always something watching your house at all times. You can place these cameras on any structures in your front or backyard. This means large trees, statues, artwork, walls, etc. If you don't have anything like this, then just putting the cameras on the wall of your home is fine as well. I also think having a few non-motion detecting cameras can be useful too. These cameras can be pointing towards your door or your windows or any other weak points that you may have. I recommend using a plug version instead of the battery powered, as it's going to use a lot more energy because it's constantly recording, unlike the motion detecting camera. And the reason for this camera is in case the motion detecting cameras do not turn on, either because it's a cheap camera or something obstructing it like fog or glare from the sun. The Victor 1080 camera system seems to be a decent choice for this purpose. It's about $160, comes with 4 cameras, is Wi-Fi enabled so you can probably view it from anywhere, and it seems to be plug-in so it has 24/7 power to record your house at all times. Now for the cameras inside, they should be a little different. This is because I don't feel comfortable with the possibility of someone hacking into the app camera uses and watching me. Along with this, if someone does break into your house, they shouldn't know that they're being recorded, as they could blind the cameras if it's noticeable. This is why I recommend spy cameras instead, both motion detecting and normal ones. If you're afraid of getting hacked and your video is getting leaked, then I recommend having an SD card with a large storage space on each of these cameras, and each night you transfer it to an external drive with a large amount of space. And you can probably save some space by speeding up the videos using a video editing software so they compress into about like 30 minutes or something at a high speed. And when you need a specific clip from a specific date, you find the clip, you revert it to its original formatting of 24 hours, and then you find what you're looking for. This method is extremely tedious and annoying, but it gives you a better assurance that any private moments that you had are not leaked. But if this is too much, which is obviously reasonable, then having it stored onto an online server is fine. There are a variety of spy cameras you can get, from pen cameras, USB cameras, to the brick on a charger. So depending on what your house looks like and what the vantage points are, you have to accommodate it as necessary. The next action to take is to reinforce entry points such as doors and windows. Instead of wood or fiberglass doors, which is common in residential homes, steel or titanium doors are probably better options. If this is a pricey option, then you can modify the door that you already have. You can pick out a reasonably priced door with a solid core that minimizes sound and provides insulation. So it may be cheaper to get a wooden door instead of a steel door, but made out of a hardwood. You can also reinforce the door hinges with studs, corrugated pins, or set screws. It is also important to maintain your door by inspecting the door for any wear or tear from constant use or the elements, and fixing accordingly. You also want to reinforce the door frames as well, and there's a lot of videos on how to do this, like putting in longer screws, for example. Shatterproof glass or something similar like tempered glass is a good choice for windows, as it can take a lot of hits. And I recommend an alarm on both the window and doors. Even if it's not ADT type, you can buy some on Amazon, like for instance the 120 dB loud door and window alarm sensor. It's about $20, there's 3 of them, and it has a very loud sound, and it has a wireless alarm sensor. Now, fortifying your doors and windows is a double-edged sword, as it can trap you inside if you are home during the break-in. Having a secret door or secret passageway, or even a panic room, can be useful. Lastly, you want to get better locks for your house. Keyed doorknob locks and keyed deadbolt locks seem to be the most vulnerable. The reason for this is due to the fact that each of these locks work on a set of pins that are placed in different heights. When the key is pushed into the lock, the unusual ridges of said key lines up the pins, allowing movement to turn. This can be mimicked using lock picks, where one creates constant torque while the other pushes on each pin till it lines up and the lock opens. Now, there are many videos on YouTube and many articles on the internet that tell you how to break in to this type of lock, because they are the most common in residential homes and are relatively unsafe compared to more complex locks. Now, I feel like every lock will eventually be broken into if tried, but slowing the process down as much as possible can increase the chance of them getting caught and or feeling as if the effort for breaking a lock is too much for a robbery. A great option is a biometric lock, which is extremely difficult to break into because it requires a fingerprint, a facial scan, or a retinal scan, and it might even have a keypad as well. However, these can be expensive, especially if you want a reliable one, and can be affected by the weather. A number keypad lock is another great option, and probably more cheaper, and it's definitely more secure than a normal lock with a key. But combination can be forgotten, and it can be affected by the weather and damaged over time, just like the biometric one. You can add a normal type of lock to this, just for some extra security. So even if they break in with the normal lock, they still need to figure out what the keypad combination is, or get your retinal scan, or your fingerprint, which is very difficult to do. Now, no matter what lock you choose, what's most important is to maintain these locks, especially the more vulnerable ones, because if you don't, you may get locked out of your own house, and with the steel doors, reinforced frames, and shatterproof glass, you are going to have to call a professional to help you get inside your house. Now, it's most important to research all the topics and subjects that I talked about in this video before purchasing them, so it can fit your house or home, and you are able to modify as necessary. There are many great articles and videos that go into the specifics of each topic. One article that I used was from The Art of Manliness on burglar-proofing your home.